Hi, Jane here. Thanks for joining me. I'm a huge fan of empowering you, as are the speakers in our Go Big series. Have you stopped to think recently what you really want in your life? Do you feel like you were meant for more, as I had for so many years? What's the big goal that you want to achieve this coming year, or a fear that you finally want to get over? If you're ready to re-envision your future and launch your big idea, maybe spread your influence or get over a fear finally, then I invite you to join me and some of our speakers. We want to help you empower your mindset, build your vision, and own your dream. Stop needing to be right and let's do this now, together. Go to janeapplegath.com, click on Go Big Sign Up, and I will see you there. Sending you much love and success. Have an incredibly epic day. Hope to see you soon. Hi everyone, I'm Jane Applegath. Welcome to the Epic Vision Zone, where some of the world's most successful self-made women and men share their multi-million-dollar ideas, their high-performance habits, visionary mindsets, and resources so you can hit the go button on your epic life. William H. Gass wrote, "The true alchemists do not change lead into gold, but rather they change the world into words." Our epic female entrepreneur today is Danielle Bertoli, a published writer, blogger, a podcaster of Struck Inside Out, and the director of an alternative high school that serves at-risk and disadvantaged youths. Danielle believes we all have the power to consciously choose our thoughts, and when we do, we happily create our lives, because what we choose to think and feel daily reflects who we are. As founder of Struck Inside Out, Danielle blogs and coaches clients on how to elevate their existence by tapping into their greatest potential, while encouraging them to enjoy the middle and in-between stages of life, not just the desired outcomes. Integrating her writing, meditation, and wellness skills, Danielle's goal is to bridge the gap between our individual inner human thoughts and ideas with those of the collective. She says by doing so, we can learn and grow from the experiences, the knowledge, and the stories of others and recognize that we are not alone. Welcome, Danielle. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for such a beautiful introduction. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Oh, well, we're excited to have you. Let's start right at the beginning here, where you have your blog and your podcast, Struck Inside Out. Tell us the inspiration for that.
So Struck Inside Out started in 2014 when I was in my early 20s, and I simply wanted to share what I was writing about in my journals with other people. And so I've been writing in journals since I was 5 years old, and I have every single one of those journals that if I want to just pick it up and return to read any old memories, or if I just want to look back at all the different people that I've been throughout my life, I can go back and flip through those pages and just tap into that former self. And so around the time that I decided to turn my journal entries into a blog, I was using writing as a therapeutic tool to cope with some past relationship issues and just simply from feeling alone in my own life. Writing was kind of my therapeutic outlet to cope with those uncomfortable emotions. And so I feel like I spent a lot of my youth questioning myself, not trusting myself. I was always looking to others to help me get through circumstances, and I always needed validation from other people. And so writing eventually became not only my source of comfort, but it was the way that I made sense of my life on my own terms without always seeking external validation. And so I created the blog to openly and honestly share my inner thoughts, my experiences, and desires with other people to hopefully help readers who were in similar circumstances feel less alone. And I never stray from being upfront and transparent in my writing because it's the only way I know how to write. And being open and transparent is really the only way I know how to live. And so after creating the blog, I was receiving positive feedback. People were thanking me for my candidness, and they were telling me I was brave, which I didn't think I was, just for being vulnerable with sharing some more intimate details of my life. And so since then, the blog has transformed into a podcast, which includes readings of my writing paired with music. It also includes morning and nighttime meditations. I've become a meditation teacher on the Insight Timer app. I lead writing workshops. I've run accountability groups and support systems for like-minded women. And I'm now working on publishing a collection of poetry and prose and studying to be a life coach. So it's interesting because what was just a desire to share the content of my journals with others has become so much more. And I'm grateful for all that it's expanded into just naturally. And it gets me excited to see what else it can become just from all of this unraveling as it is.
That is absolutely beautiful, Danielle. I mean, I can just feel the passion that you have, and writing as a tool, how it helps us, because there is something mental that happens when you put pen to paper. It's not necessarily the typing as much, but there is something that happens in the mind when we actually write something down. And you answered a lot of the next question, but I did want to, maybe, because I know you teach a lot on the writing aspect. And like you said, you have workshops, which I would love to join, by the way. And I love the fact that you do poetry, because poetry is so heartfelt. It's so meaningful. It has a lot of insight in different ways. So when you use writing as an outlet for your life, tell us some of the aspects of the growth and the creativity that come from that. When you immerse yourself, or when you're teaching the class, what are some of the things that come to mind when you want to introduce writing to someone who's, let's say, they're intimidated by it because they feel they can't write well, so they figure, well, I can't do this.
So writing is a powerful tool for growth, inspiration, and creativity because it helps you tap into your inner knowing and your inner truth. And I often say that writing is my form of meditation because it's the space that I return to when I need to make sense of my life and myself. It's in that quiet space where I grab my journals, I grab my laptop, and I either sit in silence or I'll play relaxing music from Garth or before. They're amazing. They just create these amazing, beautiful soundtracks, no words, just instrumental. And when I sit in that space, I allow the words to come to me. I allow the thoughts and the answers to come to me. Sometimes I'll do automatic writing where I'll ask myself a question that I need to know answers to cultivate that inner knowing and reliance. And just from sitting and breathing and just being in a quiet space, the answers always come. They're always there. There doesn't have to be intimidation for the words to be perfect, for the grammar to be, perfect. It's really just about using it as a creative space to express yourself and everything that's inside of you. And so that is the space that I connect to myself, or I connect to my higher self, I would like to call it. And so I know this might sound corny or funny, but I always think writing is kind of like time travel. When you begin a writing session and you're reflecting on your life, the mere act of writing helps teleport you to memories and specific details of your life you might have forgotten about. And it also brings you into the realness and authenticity of your emotions. So often we live our lives on the surface and we detach from the deeper, more intricate emotions that we have surrounding past memories, regrets, or simply the past itself. And so when you take the time to formulate your thoughts and put them to paper, you're taking the time to understand yourself and how you truly feel. And so this is the process that fosters growth, that promotes inspiration and creativity, because as you begin to understand yourself and who you are, you're already growing as a person. And once that understanding is more clear, you then take inspired action to live a more creative life. And I believe to live creatively is just being more conscious of who you are, what you want, and how you want to live your life. And the way to get clear on those things is to become quiet and still and listen to your inner truth, which for me comes from writing.
Yes, what came to me was you're bringing forth the awareness when you sit and take a breath and the writing becomes meditation. That is so eloquent. Of course it would be because you're a writer, but
Oh,
but
thank you.
putting it in those terms though is so beautiful because people can associate that, whereas they don't see it as a chore but think of it as a meditation. And you're right, because by bringing the awareness forward of our thoughts, our feelings, then, like you said, you can take inspired action. And we can also use the writing to propel us into the future, our imagination. Where do we want to go? What do we see? Just let it go. Sometimes it doesn't even have to make sense, but so eloquent. I love that writing is a form of meditation and it brings forth the awareness, which is so vital in bringing our conscience to the surface. So, developing confidence. What confidence building methods do you use for the at risk students and your clients? And how are they all applicable at any age? Because I know you deal with your students, and then, of course, you have clients that building confidence is certainly, we always are building our confidence. So give us just a couple of insights into the methods that you use to build confidence in not only your students, but in your clients as well.
Well, I guess most of where this started was in my high school setting. So some of the methods that we use to help teenagers and 20 somethings, early 20 somethings, develop confidence is one, being a solid support system for them and letting them know that they can come to us with anything that's on their mind. Most of the students who come into our program don't have a strong family unit. And so part of why they don't have confidence is because they haven't learned self-esteem and confidence from positive adult figures. It just wasn't instilled into their lifestyle or personalities growing up. So first and foremost, we let them know that we are there for them. We do believe in them, which is a great foundation for developing comfort within a secure setting. And when a student feels comfortable with us, and in some cases for the first time, is feeling like they have people that they can rely on and generally want to see them do well in life, they take that confidence and it transforms into their positive aspects of their personality and positive aspects of their lives. So, for example, we have students who, when coming into the program, can barely make eye contact and are socially awkward. They're not comfortable in their own skin. And so they often shy away from engaging with others, speaking up in class, raising their hand in class. And so it's interesting because over the course of a couple weeks, just from being in our own environment, you see students who transform from being quiet and introverted to people who want to raise their hand in class. They want to talk to the person sitting next to them. They want to make eye contact with you when you're speaking with them. And it might seem like little small steps, but it's those steps that are showing you that they're more confident that then carries over into other aspects of their life. So some students are now in our program who were those shy students are now looking for internships. They're looking for jobs. They're creating positive relationships outside of the school. So all of these transformations that are happening in the building are then getting carried over into their actual life outside of the building. And so a lot of it is just about them accepting who they are, not judging who they are, their past choices, and just really showing up for themselves in their lives as authentically as they can. We show them that self-love is confidence, self-acceptance is self-esteem. That all starts from within, but it helps to have people and support systems around you who love and support you too. And so that's why we really try to be that for them, because like I said before, a lot of the students that come into our building don't have that at home. And I know I mentioned this before too, but a lot of the coaching that I do is centered around cultivating all of that from within, not looking outside of yourself for those answers. Because I was someone who did that all of the time, but realizing that all of the answers and the wisdom are within you. You don't need somebody else to teach you how to live a certain way. You don't always need books. Granted, those things help, but anything that you need, you can cultivate from within. And so that's kind of how I center my practice.
Yes, absolutely. There is such power in understanding that we have that innate power to live authentically. And you touched on that because I love that you said something about self-esteem, self-confidence, not self-confidence, is self-esteem. It's gone from my mind, but it was really, really well put because it's true. And what you've done is you build an environment so that they can express themselves and they can understand that who they are today is someone that they can be confident in and live authentically. It doesn't mean that they have to
Mhm.
hide behind something that they're not. That's beautiful because my you segued right into the question, which was living life authentically and why it is so important and what it means for passion and trusting yourself and believing in yourself. And I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, but I think you did pretty much answer that. Was there anything else you wanted to add to living life authentically and why that is such a cornerstone in your teaching?
Yeah, I think living your life authentically means being in touch with who you are on a soul level. So it's not always believing that you should be something other than you are. It's not comparing yourself to other people or always rushing to get to that next thing that we believe our happiness, where we believe our happiness lives. It's listening to what your heart truly desires in any moment and following those instincts. And it's also not settling for what's safe and familiar because too often what we label as safe and familiar are elements of our lives that are no longer meaningful. And so, for example, if you're staying in a job that you dislike and you spend most of your day dreaming of another existence, dreaming of another life that feels more passionate and exciting, then you're spending a large majority of your time wishing your life away and not being fully present in the moment. And so the same goes for relationships, when you're not fully satisfied, but you stay because it feels easier to remain in something that's familiar, but isn't giving you what you actually want. It ends up feeling easier to settle because the fear of heartbreak and the unknown is greater than the risk of taking a chance on yourself and something new. And so to live authentically, in my opinion, is to not deny the part of yourself that isn't fully happy with your job or your relationship and allowing yourself the space to sit with those uncomfortable emotions and decide what you're going to do with them. Are you going to spend the next year or 5 years wishing your life was different? Or are you going to take action to help make your life what you want it to be? And so living authentically is living in your truth. It's leaning into your passion and it's following your bliss. And it's not necessarily easy work, not to label it as work, but it's the most fulfilling and rewarding type of work because it will lead you to your most authentic and blissful life, at least from my own experience too. That's exactly what happened when I leaned into the unknown and into my own authenticity.
And look at you now. Oh my gosh, you're soaring. It's
Oh, thank you.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Meditation. Oh, you're very welcome. Meditation and setting intentions. Entrepreneurs typically have very busy lives and they're always trying to multitask, which usually does not work. But tell us about the importance of meditation and setting intentions. I know that meditation is also something that you're a big proponent of, and I know you said that writing is a meditation for you, but you also lead meditation classes. So explain to us why you feel that that is something that we all need to practice, and setting
So med
intentions as
Okay. So meditation in any form, because to me, meditation can be sitting in silence. It can be going for a walk outside. It can be observing nature. For me, a lot of it is writing. But it's so important because so much of our lives are busy and on the go. When we're in this busy, chaotic state, we're not able to tap into our truth and get clear on how we're feeling about ourselves and our lives. And as we all know, time flies and it only gets faster as we get older. And so I think the reason why so many people wake up one random day and wonder who they are, what they've done with their lives, and if they're as happy or fulfilled as they could be is because we busy our lives away. Our work weeks are consumed in meetings, appointments, lunch breaks, TV shows, getting enough sleep, getting up early enough for the side hustle and for work. And then our weekends are filled with parties, events, making time for others. It's always something that we don't often take the time to sit with ourselves. And for me, sitting with yourself in the quiet is the way that you connect to the divine, your higher self, the universe, God, whatever you would like, whatever term you'd like to call it. And so the more communication and union that we have in this space, the more we can lead our lives and ourselves with truth, wisdom, love, and understanding for why we're here at this precise moment in time. And so the more you meditate and create clear intentions from your heart center, the more you live with presence, passion, and purpose. And so that's really how important meditation and setting intentions and leaning into the quiet of solitude is. And it's funny, there was a quote by Michael Beckwith, Reverend Michael Beckwith, who I love. He said about meditation, when he first started meditation, he revolved it around his schedule. You know, he fit it in whenever he could. But then once he reaped the benefits of it, he revolved his schedule around meditating because that's how powerful it became for him. And it became the core of his existence. It was the way he had to start his day because he knew when he did that, that was how you set a day up that we talked about before, conscious awareness, being present, being happy, living with purpose. So it is so true because when I first started, I did the same. I squeezed it in when I could. And now I have to make time for it every day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wonderful. I always say your life won't happen without you in it.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's for me the presence, being present, the meditation, because we're physically in it, but we're not mentally in it a lot of the times.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is such a wonderful explanation of meditation and intentions. So you did speak a little bit about this inner critic that we all have, our inner voice that says, no, don't do that. Let's settle for what we know. A lot of it has to do with keeping us safe. So limiting beliefs often stop us in our tracks. They stop us from growing. They stop us from expanding and exploring. What advice can you give us to overcome the inner critic?
So limiting beliefs and our inner critic, I don't think have to be so feared because they're also the gateway to loving ourselves more. And if it weren't for those limiting beliefs, if it weren't for that loud inner critic or ego, we wouldn't know what we need to work on within ourselves. So it's those limiting beliefs that offer us the opportunity to go deeper within ourselves and see where we can heal, where we can grow. And so it asks you the question, what beliefs are you choosing to hold on to that are no longer serving you? And how can you heal those beliefs to live a happier life? And I think to overcome the inner critic, you first have to listen to what it's saying and not become so connected to it or necessarily believe in it, but to look at it as though it's like a child who's calling out for attention, that wants to be heard, it wants to be healed, it wants to be loved. And so you can actually become grateful for the inner critic and those self-limiting beliefs because it helps you create more confidence, more empowerment, and motivation to go after your dreams and to live a fulfilling life. So it's all about, again, being in that state of communication with yourself because that's how you get to know yourself. And the more you know yourself, the more you can develop a healthy relationship with who you are, where again, you're not so connected to that inner critic and that voice and taking it so personally. You listen to it with a grain of salt and you know how to have a conversation with it so that it doesn't overpower you. You get to choose your power and how you're going to respond to it.
I absolutely love that, Danielle, because you turned it around. You made him not the enemy, by saying, listen to why is it saying this? Where it brings to the surface where you're stuck, and maybe looking at it as opposed to pushing it back or pushing it down and say, listen, I know you're trying to keep me stuck and I'm not going to have any of it. But this way, it's like opening up the door and saying, okay, you're making a lot of noise. Let's look at this and let's move through this together. Oh, I love that. That
Thank
completely
you.
changes the whole platform of the inner critic. So elevating your existence. When we talked earlier, these words flowed out of your mouth, and I thought that is brilliant. I love that, elevating your existence, because I hadn't heard it before. And we both had an aha moment, and it sounds amazing. So dive a little deeper into that and what that entails.
So elevating your existence, it doesn't have to be some big grand sweeping gesture. It's really about being consciously awake for the smaller, seemingly ordinary and insignificant moments of your life. And so what we often don't realize is that there's so much power in every single moment. And so, for example, the other day, I caught myself dreading all of these reports and administrative tasks that I had to complete. I was literally doing everything else besides what I had to do. And I don't know if you ever watched The Office, but Michael Scott from The Office. Do you watch The Office at all?
No,
Have
but
you ever seen that comedy? Okay.
I
Well,
know
a
of
lot
it.
of people. So there is a character, Michael Scott, who's the boss of the office. And whenever there's these reports that come around, his assistant, Pam, has to come into the office and consistently remind him to do it, or they're going to be stuck there till like midnight. And so I always laugh when I'm in those moments because I'm like, I'm literally Michael Scott when it comes to certain things I don't want to do. But so anyway, I started noticing in that moment that I was telling myself that I'm a procrastinator, I'm lazy, I'm still not able to manage my time properly. And it was like this domino effect where I was just beating myself up for not being able to do the work that I had to do. And so instead of throwing myself a pity party or even just diving into those emotions, I stopped those thoughts in their tracks. I took a deep breath. I went outside. I got a cup of coffee. And I chose to tell myself that it's okay, that I'm human, that it's okay to not always be productive. It's okay to not always spend every single minute for work. And so with that acceptance, I returned to my desk, I completed what I had to do, and then I moved on with my day. And I moved on with my day with the conscious awareness of the kinds of thoughts that I wanted to think. And I brought that energy with me throughout every other interaction and experience that I had. And that might sound small and insignificant, but in reality, all we have is today and this moment. Tomorrow is never guaranteed. So I'd like to try and spend my time thinking thoughts that I actually want to think and engaging in behaviors that support me rather than weigh me down. And that's not to say that every single day is going to be great and easy, because there are certainly days where it's difficult to get out of your own way, no matter how hard you try. But to be in that state of conscious awareness that there's always a choice for how you're going to view yourself in your life is where your power comes into play. And most people believe that they're powerless and that life is just life and there's no control over the ebbs and flows. And there might not be control over the ups and downs, but there's certainly control in how you're going to respond to those circumstances. And so it's how we choose to view ourselves. How we choose to view ourselves is where the magic comes into play. We can all be looking at the same thing, but it's what we're choosing to see that makes the difference. A moment can just be a moment, but it's what you choose to make of that moment, or rather how you're choosing to perceive that moment, that makes your experience of your life your own. And so I believe with that awareness, you can elevate your existence to be anything that you want it or need it to be. And it can really be that simple, and you can use it in any single moment.
Yes. Choose thoughts that elevate you, that elevate your existence, because that is really, you're absolutely 100% right on. Those thoughts that are negative, I was laughing because we all do that. Like you said, I'm procrastinating, I'm not productive. What am I doing? I'm just wasting it. And of course, that just brings your energy down even more. But to be aware that that's what you're doing, you took a break, you made the space so that you could have a conversation and say, okay, let's look at this, put it aside, and come back with thoughts that serve you and elevate your existence. Oh my gosh, so powerful. Danielle, your teachings are so powerful. My goodness.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Integrative coaching. So now your approach to transformation, is rooted in the integration of spirituality, emotional, and mental aspects. Why is this integration so important? Because often we have coaches that specialize in one or the other, but just explain to our audience why the integration will help elevate your existence.
So I think those three components are so important because they are the foundation of who we are. So yes, we're in these physical bodies, but we're more than this physical existence. We're more than this physical makeup. at the root of our beings and our existence is the combination of the spiritual, of the emotional, and of the mental. You know, how we choose to think about ourselves and our lives affects our emotions. So what we think produces our emotions, and the two always go hand in hand. But when you add a spiritual nature to the mental and emotional aspects, you're bridging the two worlds and becoming more in union with the balance of your heart and mind center, where the two can support one another rather than be combative with one another, since it seems like they're often more combative with one another than supporting each other and working together, being on the same team, being on the same side of things. And so again, I know I keep saying this, but it's all about balance and recognizing that some days balance is easier than others. But again, as long as you're present and aware of yourself, that's how you start the balancing act. And that's where transformation occurs, in that space of the union of all three of those aspects.
Yes, absolutely. I can see that. I mean, in all of what you've shared with us today, I can see the integration of all the aspects that need to be there, because we are all of those aspects. And like you said, the spiritual part could be anything you'd like it to be, but our mind body is it's all connected. So
Mm-hmm.
I certainly, that makes complete sense to me. So I know this is your passion. I can see it. I can feel it in your voice. Tell us, what do you love about teaching and coaching?
I love all of the growth that can occur from just a simple shift in mindset, the removal of one behavior or the addition of a practice that helps support someone on their journey. So I love when I see someone recognize that they had the power of change within themselves all along, that it's not outside of themselves or in me helping them, but it's readily available when they tune into themselves. And so a lot of what I do in my coaching sessions is telling people that they are the ones with the answers. It's not me or someone else. It's always in themselves. I might help them get there. I might help them develop tools and practices to more closely and deeply go within, but it's always them. I think it's detrimental to always think that somebody else can fix you, that this book or workshop can fix you. You can get tools from those things, but they are certainly not the cure. You always, like I keep saying, you always have those within you. And so I like to view coaching as guiding people back to their truth and helping them use meditation, writing, spirituality, nature, solitude, any of those things to foster self-trust and reliance. And when you can trust yourself to answer your own questions and guide you through life, you're the creator of your life. And who doesn't want to live their life in that way and be completely self-loving, self-reliant, and the creator of their life?
You render me speechless. Yeah, I don't need to say anything. Beautiful. Absolutely. You are the creator of your life. Yes. What does that mean? You've answered it several times in different ways, and it is beautiful. I am so curious now, because you have just partnered with a company by the name of Wellium, and I'm very excited for you to share a little bit more about that with us.
Yes, I know. I'm really excited about this too. So, Wellium is a startup company based in New York City. It brings Eastern medicine to modern life. And so, most of Western medicine approaches health as a one size fits all approach, which doesn't, it just doesn't work in every single case. Everybody's unique. And so, Eastern medicine looks at the whole person and their specific medical history, their lifestyle habits, their emotional and mental states, and everything else that makes a person unique. And so what they do is they offer formulas or tinctures that address various ailments. So there's tinctures to help you naturally fall asleep and to stay asleep throughout the night. There's tinctures for anxiety and digestive issues. There's tinctures for PMS. There's tinctures to help female hormones, tinctures to help you have energy and stay focused. And so they offer monthly subscriptions. You can either buy those products online, or you can do a monthly subscription where you virtually meet with what they call a Wellium expert. And a Wellium expert includes somebody from the Eastern medicine background. So it could be naturopaths, herbalists, acupuncturists, any of those kinds of backgrounds. And they ask you questions about your lifestyle habits, what you're eating, how you're sleeping, how you're feeling on a daily basis. And together you come up with a tincture that's designed just for you, so that you could focus on things that you either want to alleviate or things that you want to work on. And so they have a monthly subscription where you can meet with somebody every month doing that, or you could just get a tincture every single month without having to meet with somebody. And so I'm working on anxiety, which I didn't realize has to deal with digestive issues, which then was affecting my sleep. And so they teach you all of these things too about everything is connected, as we said before. So much of our emotional makeup affects our physical makeup. And so things that I didn't even realize I was doing were reasons why I was waking up with anxiety some days, were reasons why I couldn't sleep through the night. And so it's interesting because I just had my second session this past Tuesday, which was a month of using their products. And it was kind of insane to see how much I grew within just a month. I really have felt more motivated, more positive. That anxiety has been subsiding. The sleeping tinctures are so great. And I actually lowered the dose because I was waking up and I was so relaxed that I wanted to keep sleeping. Not that it was like groggy, but I was like, all right, you got to get up and get ready for the day. But it's this amazing company that I highly recommend. And they're offering with me a 10% discount for either the subscription or any of their tinctures, a 10% discount with the code STRUCK10. So it's a fun partnership. I'm excited about it.
Wonderful. It sounds amazing. I'm going to have to look into it. Now, you're saying tinctures? Tincture? What are you saying and what are those?
I should have explained that. I've worked with tinctures for a while, so I assume other people have known, and it's something Eastern medicine. So it comes in a little glass bottle. It's a liquid. So it's all natural ingredients, all natural herbs. You can mix it with water. You can mix it with coffee. So usually it's like 2 dropperfuls. It comes with a dropper, and I put it in my water in the morning and I'll drink it. And they'll tell you how often to take it. It tastes good. It tastes natural and healthy. And again, it's nice because from working at the school, there's a lot of students that come in at take medication for anxiety. They take medication for depression. And I'm not saying anything negative about that. Sometimes it's needed. But in this case, it's nice because I like that it's all natural. I like that there's no real side effects to any of the stuff that I'm taking. It's ultimately really good for me. So it's good to know that you're in good hands with people that have experience in, doctors, scientists that are coming up with these formulas to support you on whatever journey you're on and whatever you're trying to work on within yourself.
Yes, that sounds fabulous. I know a friend right now who I can recommend it to for the sleep aspect, but that's funny that you were so relaxed. You just didn't want to get out of bed. It's such a great sleep inducement. It's like, I've just been relaxed for a month.
I know. I was like, wow, this is powerful.
Wow, we can have trouble with that one, but anyway, obviously now we know that they work. That's great.
They do.
Yeah, fabulous. Well, thank you for sharing that. We'll definitely have that on your bio information, and it'll be there for people to look up and share. So I have one last question because we are here on the Epic Vision Zone, and if your life were an epic story, what would the title be?
So when I was originally trying to self-publish my book, which I'm still doing, I had a title that I thought it was going to be. It's changed now, but I could probably use the former title, which was a subtitle, which was Learning to Love Myself Through Getting Lost. It was learning to love myself through getting lost in love because it was all about relationships. But now that I've changed course, it's something else. But I really think that would be it because it's really through getting lost, unraveling, not knowing who you are or where you want to be, at least in my experience, that has led me to go down all of these paths where I am where I am now. And I feel like I'm the most confident I've ever been. I'm the most happy I've ever been. And that was through taking all these different chances, not settling, and believing that on the other side of all of my fear, there was a life that I've been waiting for when I could just get past that fear. So I think that would be the title, if the epic title of my life.
That's beautiful. I love it. So I want to thank you once again, Danielle, for being here, for sharing your knowledge, your stories, your inspiration, and be sure to check out Danielle's her courses, to connect with her blog, and also to tune into her podcast. And you can find all of her contact information, website, social media on her bio page that will be available on the Epic Vision Zone. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Jane Applegath and check out how you can become an epic entrepreneur at janeapplegath.com. This is the Epic Vision Zone, transforming your dreams into epic success.